Greetings, YouTube. The Doctor is in. Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons and Dragons. And today we're going to look at a very special, uncommon or higher magic item called the Barrier Tattoo. This item comes out of Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. We are giving this one an absolute solid A. It is an awesome item. If you have not heard of it, let's go through it and look at it. Produced by a special needle. This magic tattoo, and tattoos, I believe, were introduced in Tasha's, and there's a whole variety of things that tattoos can do. This one creates, like, armor. Other tattoos can do things like cast spells. So, produced by a special needle, the magic tattoo depicts protective imagery and uses ink that resembles liquid metal. So this is an attunement item, so you do have to be cognizant of that because you only get 3 attunement items. To attune this item, you hold the needle to your skin where you want the tattoo to appear, pressing the needle there throughout the attunement process. When the attunement is complete, the needle turns into the ink that becomes the tattoo, which appears on the skin. If your attunement to the tattoo ends, the tattoo vanishes and the needle reappears in your space. So it's not a one and done. It is a permanent item that you can use again later on. It's not a consumable item. All right, protection. While you are not wearing armor, the tattoo grants an armor class depending on the tattoo's rarity, as shown below. You can use a shield and still gain this benefit. So you get your AC changes, and you can use a shield, and you are counted as not wearing armor because it is not armor. So we've got an uncommon variety, a rare variety, and a very rare variety. If it's uncommon, it is 12 plus your dex modifier. Rare is 15 plus your dex modifier to a maximum plus 2. Very rare is an 18. Now, magical tattoo coverage, they say common, uncommon, rare, very rare, and legendary. I think this is just a general table that comes with all of the magical tattoos, depending on their rarity, but it says there is a legendary magic tattoo. It is in this section, but they don't talk about the legendary barrier tattoo, so I'm wondering what that possibly could be. Could that be a AC of 20? I don't know. You could make that up in your game. Now, let's talk about this item, and specifically, how does it compare to some of the armors? Okay, so if we've got an AC of 12 plus your dex modifier, that is equal to studded leather, just right off the bat. So if you've got the uncommon version, it's basically like wearing studded leather without wearing armor. You are still counted as unarmored. And plus, if you had the shield. So if you had, let's say you had a dex of 18, then you would get a 16 plus the shield would be an 18 armor class, just walking around. Now, what classes, and then let's go through this, so 15 plus your dex modifier is equal to half plate. Again, this could be a 17 plus a shield would be 19. And then the very rare version is an 18, which is equivalent to plate mail. Anybody could be wearing this. Anyone. Wizard, sorcerer, cleric, anyone could wear this or bear this or attune to this, and they wouldn't be counting as having plate armor on, but they would have the same armor class. They wouldn't have disadvantage on stealth checks, and they would not have to meet the strength requirement because this essentially just counts as unarmored. So we're going to talk about some of the classes now that could benefit from these rarities or this item itself. So overall, it compares pretty well to actually wearing some of this armor without actually wearing some of the armor. Okay, barbarians. I think barbarian. This item would really, really, really benefit barbarians. I know people are going to argue with me about this because of the way that this says. While you are not wearing armor, your armor class equals 10 plus your dexterity modifier plus your constitution modifier. You can use a shield and still gain this benefit. My argument here is that armor class 10 is the base armor class for everybody, no matter what. Anyway, you always add your dex modifier, and then the barbarian gets this armor defense where they can add their constitution modifier. So if a barbarian were wearing the rare version of this, And let's say that they had a 14 dex. That means that they would have a 15 plus 2. That they would have a 16. And let's say they had a 16 constitution. So that means it would be a 19. And if they were wearing a shield, that would be 21. Now, you will, of course, will have to work this out with your dungeon master, whoever that may be, on the rulings of these. But so let's look at the monk. Again, the monk has unarmored defense, but instead of being procced off of constitution, it is procced off of wisdom. So while you're wearing no armor, barrier tattoo counts as not wearing armor. Then you got a 10, which is everybody's base, plus your dex, which everybody gets, plus your wisdom modifier. So you could be wearing this rare, which would give you, I'm going to assume that a monk is going to have max dex. So this would be a 17. And let's just assume that that monk had a 16 wisdom, which would be a 19. Now, you can't you can't bear a shield. No shields right there. There's no shields with this. Again, you're going to have to work this out with your dungeon master. Now, the fighter class could also greatly benefit with this. Now, it doesn't work with the defensive fighting style because the defensive fighting style requires you to actually wear armor. However, if you were fighting with the protection, where you have to be wielding a shield, you could have the rare or very rare, so probably 17 or 18, which counts as not wearing armor. And again, it's equivalent to plate mail, except no strength requirement and no disadvantage on stealth checks. And then you could have that shield, so you would have, a 20 with the very rare version of this plus the shield. And in addition, you could use your reaction to impose disadvantage on attack rolls, which is great against anybody that's within 5 feet of you. Any of your, when a creature you can see attacks a target other than you, you can impose disadvantage. That's a great power. I've seen that happen before. It really, really slows. It doesn't slow combat down, but it slows the effectiveness of the enemies down. So that is a great thing too. Wizards. Bladesong Wizard could absolutely benefit from this totally. Now, the Bladesong Wizard cannot wield a shield, but while you're blade singing, you gain a bonus to your AC equal to your intelligence modifier. And let's say you had the rare version of this, even the uncommon version of this, and you had a 16 dexterity, so that would be a 15 plus your intelligence modifier. We're just going to assume that's a 4. That would be a 19 plus other benefits as well. Even with a 15, raising this to a 17, and then if you added your AC bonus to this of plus 4, that would be a 21, and you could get that even higher. So this is really good. Again, the barrier tattoo is an attunement item, so you need to be careful with that. Now, what other items do I think work well with this? Of course, a cloak of protection adds a +1 to AC. A ring of protection also adds a +1 to AC. Now, these both require attunement, so you got to watch out for your attunement slots. And finally, what kinds of shields could we use? Well, shield +1 is uncommon, and that increases your AC even more. Shield +2 is rare. Shield +3 is very rare. So again, if we got that barbarian, well, let's use the blade singer. Let's use the blade singer. So we've got a base 15 +2 for our dex. We'll assume we've got a 14 dex. That makes that 17 plus our 18 intelligence. That makes that a 21. We've got a cloak of protection. That's 22. We got a ring of protection. That's 23. And we can't wield a shield. So that would be a 23. If we had a shield spell with this, that 23 becomes a 28. If we had an 18 as a fighter, and we had a cloak of protection and a ring of protection, that's 20. With a +2 shield, that becomes 22, 24 armor class. And if you could somehow figure out how to get a shield spell on that fighter, then that becomes a 29. So there, and again, some of these shields, however, and I will say however, require attunement. Some of them do not. We're going to talk about this one eventually because it gives advantage on initiative rolls and wisdom perception checks. It's not a bonus. but it does add a +2. I would say if you wanted to make this like a +1 Sentinel Shield, that might be a rare or very rare item. Just depends on the DM. However, this one does not require attunement. So you could have this one, a Cloak of Protection, a Ring of Protection, and a Barrier Tattoo. So all in all, I think the Barrier Tattoo is an awesome item. If you did not know about it, now you know. And that is what I have for everybody today. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch everybody later.